When you think about the top WWE superstars, all of them have iconic and, dare I say, electrifying finishing moves. But what about those that have two? So we were checking out 10 wrestlers with two great finishers by none other than Cultaholic Wrestling. If you're not subbed to them, show them some love, give them a sub. And also, shout out to Cam Johnson, one of our members in the Discord. He submitted this video for us today. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Every wrestler needs a finishing move. Otherwise, wrestling matches would never end and go on forever, trapping us all in a hellish nightmare of Irish whips and side headlock
we need 1080. We need 1080.
Some wrestlers found one finisher
The pedigree
and made it work for them, whilst others have employed multiple exciting match-ending moves across
Oh yeah,
their
Big Show with the
career.
knockout punch.
Talk about greedy. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10 wrestlers with two great finishers. Join us.
Join us.
Get it?
But first, if you needed the best protection possible, who would you turn to? Brock Lesnar? Omos? Maybe get Farouk and Bradshaw back out of retirement.
Oh, they paying bills.
No. If you are
NordVPN, go ahead, pay your bills, fam.
much more. So
I'm trying to pay bills soon too.
CM Punk. In the summer of 2006, the WWE Universe.
Right now, this man is the hot topic of all hot topics, but he has one of the best entrance themes of all time. This fire still burns, bro.
Was introduced to a plucky young man called CM Punk. The former Ring of Honor World Champion beats Just Incredible in his first televised
Just Incredible,
match,
what a
using
name.
the Anaconda Vice to get the job done.
Why does his hand
the
look
Vice
like
is
that?
a modified compression chokehold, which I had to look up online. The only thing I could have told you off the top of my head was that it was named after a snake. Though the move looked effective, WWE
Oh. Yeah. You know what? I didn't even think about that. The Anaconda Vice. I don't know. I was just thinking about the Vice grip. Whatever.
higher-ups wanted Punk to use something else, and so he introduced the
Go to sleep
to his arsenal. A fireman's carry into a knee strike to the face, the GTS quickly became the straight-edge superstar's most recognizable move.
Yes,
it's
sir.
the move he beat John Cena with at Money in the Bank, the move he used during both of his Money in the Bank cash-ins, and the move he beat Adam Page with to win the AEW World Championship. Yes, sir, the GTS is Punk's move through and through. Isn't that right, Kenta? Eh? Please don't kill me. Number 9, Sting. Did Sting steal the sharpshooter from Bret Hart?
But Sting is, yeah, his moves. So he's got the Scorpion Deathlock, and then he has I know they don't count the Stinger Splash as one. But was it Scorpion Deathlock, and then what is the other one? Shoot, they probably gonna tell us.
Did Bret Hart steal the Scorpion Deathlock from Sting? The answer is neither. The move was first invented by Japanese wrestling legend Riki Choshu. Now you can all stop bickering, alright? Who am I kidding? This is the internet. We're all doomed. Anyway, the Stinger did popularize the move in the United States. Take that hit, man. He used it to win many of his matches.
Let's be honest, man. A lot of stuff came from Japan, or it came from some other level of influence. So and that's one of the gripes I have about people trying to say all this stuff about LA Knight. Yes, I'm talking about LA Knight in this video too. Everybody's been inspired by something. Some people just change the name. Some people change how it actually gets put on their opponent. They may, instead of it might be a reverse. They put their own spin on it. We all get inspired. So what? I don't know why people make such a big deal about that.
Matches during his surfer days. The move is incredibly well known now, with every
Sharpshooter
Canadian
class is
wrestler
funny.
forced to learn it before they can even think about stepping into a ring. When Sting came back to confront the NWO in WCW, his attitude and appearance had changed drastically. This metamorphosis was foreshadowed by a new finishing move from the Icon, which he debuted right before he disappeared. On a 1996
The Scorpion Death
episode
Drop,
of
right?
Nitro, Sting took out the NWO imposter version of himself with an inverted DDT, aka the Scorpion Death Drop.
Exactly.
Following this Sting section, see what I did there? The move would join the Deathlock in Sting's repertoire. The way he's going at the moment, expect him to still be using both of them at the age of 206. Number 8,
206.
Kevin Owens. Whilst the Stunner is certainly a cool move, to call it Kevin
The Stunner. That's Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then even so, I'm sure, because I know these wrestling purists are gonna get on me. I'm sure this wasn't originally invented by Stone Cold Steve Austin. It looks like it's some level of a cutter that you're just sitting down. But again, we don't have the Stunner if we don't have other moves before it. And I'm pretty sure they're probably gonna talk about that.
Owens' finisher would do a disservice to the man who created it. Thank you, John Laurinaitis. Oh yeah, and something about Stone Cold Steve Austin as well. Thankfully, Kev has used multiple great final moves in his time. In the early days of his WWE
the pop-up
run,
powerbomb.
Owens would use the pop-up powerbomb to put his opponents away. As an opponent was running towards him, he would chuck them up in the air, catch them in a powerbomb position, and then yeet them into the earth. Impressive, but good luck trying to do that to the Big Show.
Hell
no.
no.
His move to McMahon Land, Owens went by his real name of Kevin Steen in various indies and, of course, Ring of Honor. The move he used to great effect there was the package pile driver. With an opponent's arms and legs hooked tightly together, Steen would drop them right on the top of their head. Though he's teased it many times, Kevin Owens has never actually hit the move in WWE. There's no way they would ever let him.
Oh, that's trash.
Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson / Daniel Bryan / Braniel Dyanson has used many techniques to end his matches. Heel hooks, dragon suplexes, the bizarre and fantastic cattle mutilation submission, mighty foes from across the globe have all fallen to these moves.
That looked like it hurt for real.
The two we are talking about here are the ones he used most often in WWE. He had the LaBelle Lock, named after legendary wrestler Gene LaBelle, right from the get-go, using it to win his first championship in WWE at Night of Champions 2010. It would of course also be known as the Yes Lock, the No Lock, and the Maybe Lock. Might have made one of those up. His second finisher, which was just called the running knee, whatever they call it, was introduced at SummerSlam 2013. This was the move he used to nail John Cena with to win their match and the WWE Championship. He would hold the belt for about 2 minutes before Randy Orton cashed in on him.
Oh man. Fam. When we heard I have voices in my head, I was like, no way. Fam, Yeselmania that was lightning in a bottle. Kofi Mania was cool, but Yeselmania was just different.
Bryan is known as both a striker and a submission specialist, so it makes sense that he would have a devastating one of each in his finisher's resume. The moral of this story? Don't mess with the beardy little goat. Number 6, Chris Jericho.
Y2J.
Before you say something, the Judas effect is not on this list.
Yeah, thank you.
Presented as a world beater in AEW, it's just a reverse elbow at the end of the day.
Gotta be the walls of Jericho.
I'd probably fall over and split my trousers, but I could still do it. Jericho's best two
finishes
are also a submission and a striking move. The hold is the oldest, as Y2J has been using his signature Lion Tamer since his WCW days.
If you know, you know. That's just the walls of Jericho, man. Like, I wasn't watching WCW like that back in the day. So I was at the mercy of my cousins when it came to watching wrestling. And they were more WWF than WCW. So I found out about Chris Jericho when the countdown finally came. And it was supposed to be Y2K, but it was Y2J. And he had this promo with The Rock. But the Lion Tamer just ended up being the walls of Jericho. So that's what I call it. The Lion Tamer is different to the walls of Jericho, by the way. The Lion Tamer is done at a higher angle and involves Jericho jamming his knee into his opponent's back. Bruh. It's still the same to me, damn it.
The walls looks pretty comfortable by comparison. When Jericho returned to WWE in 2007, he brought with him a new finisher. A jumping double knee strike to the face. The code breaker became his go-to match ender and quickly got over as a deadly blow. Even if you're not the code breaker's biggest fan, you have to admit it was better than the breakdown, Jericho's version of the skull-crushing finale. I'd be happy if he never, ever...
And that's the craziest thing. I'm projecting right now because a little bit of this came from, we were on stream and we were talking about, or it was being said that LA Knight should have, again, yes, more LA Knight, yes. Talking about, wait, hold on, no. Yeah, there we go. They were talking about LA Knight having a flashier finish or a different finish because it reminds you of the skull crushing finale, or it reminds you of, it reminded somebody of the RKO, which I really didn't agree with, and it reminds somebody else of the stunner, which I could kind of understand it because of the head movement here. But hell, this is back in the Attitude Era when The Miz wasn't even in the WWE. I'm pretty sure he wasn't in the WWE this far back. I highly doubt it. But Chris Jericho was doing it before The Miz. Oh,
unleashed that load of old bollocks again. Number 5, AJ Styles.
The phenomenal
one. Wrestler with an embarrassingly high number of finishes to his name is the phenomenal AJ Styles. Moves like the springboard 450
I'm so mad.
Tap are cool, but don't really get used enough to qualify for this list. Then there's the calf crusher / calf killer for you nerds out there, which is a cool submission, but doesn't really win matches for Styles anymore.
Yeah.
What we're left with are two moves.
Phenomenal forearm and a Styles clash.
associated with wrestling's greatest soccer mom.
Soccer
The
mom here.
phenomenal forearm, a springboard flying forearm, became AJ's weapon of choice shortly after joining WWE. Though there was some
looked good,
brouhaha
too.
about it replacing some of his old moves, you cannot deny just how bloody cool it looks.
Yeah, I just
Especially
said
when
that.
he hits someone with it through a table. And then there is AJ's great contribution to the sport, the absurdly wonderful, but little bit divisive Styles Clash. Through a combination of wrestling ability and magic, AJ hoists his opponents up vertically, hooking
Yeah.
their arms and legs before splatting them into the mat.
This
This move doesn't finish
So this move actually takes cooperation from the opponent as well. Maybe that's why he kind of saying it's a little iffy, but because they do have to like make sure their arms are dangling and hanging, so that way he can end up wrapping them up so he can safely do the move. So I get it, but still look cool though.
too many matches either anymore, but it did for a long time. Number 4, The Undertaker.
Oh, man.
The last ride powerbomb was a thing of beauty. Innovated
That's
during
such
the
a
Undertaker's
high
American Badass
altitude.
era, the dead man would lift his opponents up for a standard powerbomb, but then extend his arms up fully to add even more height to the move.
That's such a high altitude.
Do you know how tall The Undertaker is? Anyone taking this move fell for about 25 feet before they hit anything. Whilst the last ride was really cool, it actually doesn't make our list.
What?
Mainly because it wasn't Taker's finisher for too long. The two moves we are looking
Tombstone?
at are his signature
and Hell's
submission
Gate?
hold, Hell's Gate, and the iconic
Tombstone.
Tombstone pile driver. Mark
Legend.
Calloway's love of MMA inspired him to introduce a realistic-looking hold into his arsenal. This is where the Hell's Gate, a modified Gogoplata, comes from. As for the Tombstone, that has been part of
Is that Mark
Taker's
Henry?
character since day one. He has put away hundreds, if not thousands, of opponents.
Damn, that look
with
like he
that
hurt his
move,
neck
and
for
it's been
real.
associated with him for over 30 years. Sometimes he even does a little jump with it, like he did at WrestleMania 26 against Shawn
yeah.
Michaels. Tasty. Number 3, Kurt Angle. For my money, the best
With a
combination
broken
of
freaking neck.
pinning move and submission hold finishes in wrestling history belongs to one of the very best to ever lace up a pair of boots.
Oh, yeah.
Kurt Angle's pinning move is the effortlessly cool Angle Slam, or the Olympic Slam if you prefer. Angle would place his head under his opponent's arm before lifting them up and spinning them round simultaneously for max.
Didn't somebody just do this the other day? Am I tripping? I feel like I was watching something and somebody just did the angle slam, but I can't remember who it was.
Maximum impact. See that time he hit one on Shane McMahon into some confetti for a perfect example. And then is the Angle.
Before we even get too far, the fact that they mentioned Shane McMahon and Kurt Angle, one of my all-time favorite matches was King of the Ring 2001, Shane McMahon versus Kurt Angle. Fam, that was a banger of a match. And I think it made it even better knowing that that glass was supposed to be sugar glass and it was real. Then knowing that Kurt, I think he broke his tailbone, but he finished the match and he did a angle slam off the top of, I think it was like a wooden plank or something like that was spread across the top rope. And he did that's such a good match, man. It's crazy that Shane McMahon cracked my top 10 favorite matches of all time. That's wild to think about.
Ankle lock, the move that makes Angle look like even more of a beast than he already does. A simple hold applied to an opponent's foot, the ankle lock was always put over as one of the most painful submissions in WWE history. Angle would sell it like a madman, tensing his face and screaming his lungs out to get across how much torque he was putting into the move. And hey, if the lock on its own wasn't enough to finish someone off, then Angle would break out his ultimate weapon, the grapevine. Once you were stuck in that, Angle was simply gonna have his way with you. Not like that. Number 2, The Rock. If we are being completely, totally, 100% honest with ourselves, both of The Rock's most famous finishing moves kinda suck. Bottom is fine, but can lack a little oomph sometimes, and as for the people's elbow, well, it's just an elbow drop, innit? I mean, The Rock even stops running before he hits it, cancelling out all of the momentum he gained by hitting the ropes. But you know what? I don't care.
Nope.
And I don't think any of you do either.
Hell
no.
no.
Great one's big hitters.
Fam, this is the best people's elbow ever. Fam, the way he slid, oh my God. You want to talk about absolute perfection? Fam. Oh man,
back in power,
I'm
more
speechless.
than make up for in theatricality. I mean, think about how many huge pops have come from Rocky wrapping his arm around someone's chest and drilling them into the mat with a uranagi. And
Yeah,
sure,
yeah, that
it
is
might
true.
not actually pack a punch, but the People's Elbow is practically an American national treasure at this point. And that sums up The Rock's entire career.
Yeah.
He got 2 finishes over through the sheer force of unparalleled charisma.
Electrifying,
they might not
bro.
look very painful or be all that legitimate, but in terms of wrestling moves, you would be hard-pressed to find a more beloved combination.
But see, my problem with Rock's moves, pretty standard, right? Uranagi, and it was literally just an elbow. But he put so much of his charisma into it, it got over. And it actually finished matches, which is what hold on, I gotta go full screen for this one. And that is the gripe that I have with the Blue Thunder Bomb. If they would just let Sami Zayn actually win some matches with that, instead of it always being a false finish. I think only 2 people actually didn't kick out. I think that was AJ Styles and Ludwig Kaiser. If you know anybody else, let me know in the comments. But I think those are the only 2 people who didn't kick out to the Blue Thunder Bomb. If you just let the man get a win with that move, I promise you, it would be, it looks amazing. It is one of the most aesthetically pleasing power bombs, I guess if you want to call it, that I've ever seen. But you can't get a win with it. And that just takes away from any type of credibility.
Number 1, Randy Orton.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Orton used to have a truly awful finisher. The Ozone, which MVP also used as the playmaker, was a swinging neck breaker where the wrestler doing the move would put their leg over their opponent's head. It added pretty much nothing and only succeeded in jamming the attacker's own knee into the mat. Thankfully, in 2003,
RKO.
Orton began using the move that would make him famous. I mean, what else is there to say about the RKO? It's quick,
Nothing, bro.
it's brutal, it can famously
Perfect.
be hit from out of nowhere. It is the perfect finisher.
Perfect.
Well, unless you're Orton's lower back. Because one all-time great finisher wasn't good enough for the Viper, he introduced another
punt.
one in 2006.
I forgot
if
about
Orton
that one.
really needed to put someone away, then he would turn to the punt kick. What he would do was, well, he would run up to someone really fast and punt them in the head. Not pretty,
Fam.
but very effective. The punt is Orton's nuclear option.
I still
for
can't
when
believe he did that to
wants
Vince
concuss
McMahon.
Someone. He has written countless people off TV with the move, which remains one of the most protected finishes in wrestling history.
Speaking of finishers, though, now that the Usos have finally split apart, man, I'm wondering, are they going to give them individual finishers, or are they going to still be doing the Uso splash? I don't know. Until we figure that out, check out this video on the screen, how I would book the official breakup of the Usos.